Hello, welcome to Toffee TV. It is a match preview, Everton versus Brighton at Goodison Park. An opportunity to win 3 back-to-back games at Goodison Park. Jack, how are we feeling about that?
Yeah, all in the space of a week as well. It's uncharted territory, really, isn't it? Been a while since we've been in what you'd call good form. Playing against a good side in Brighton as well, so it is going to be tough. But I think in recent weeks as well, especially in the league, we've probably shown slightly better form than they have as well. We know they're a quality side and it's going to be tough, but it's one that I'm not as apprehensive about this game as I thought I would have been. And a large part of that is our current form.
No, absolutely. Brighton, obviously coming into the season, you look at the fixtures and now they're one that you look at and you go, ooh. Especially after last season. Last season was one of the most, I wouldn't say embarrassing, but it was very much one of the most one-sided games I've seen at Goodison Park for a very long time. We did not lay a glove on them last season. It was like when they played us last season, it was like the awakening. It was like everyone just went, oh my God, Brighton are really, really good.
And this Everton are really bad.
Yeah. And the manager still hasn't been sacked. No, they were excellent at Goodison last season, and obviously they ended up having a superb season. They got into Europe, and now obviously everybody looks at Brighton and thinks that's how you have to do it as a football club if you want to get yourself into those European positions and maybe higher. And obviously, listen, this season, Villa are very much doing good things as well, but Brighton are the model because they have a model and it's very successful. But you're right, just coming into the game at the moment, Everton are on a decent little run of form. You know, I said could be 3 wins in a row, but as I said, 3 home wins back to back. Could be on the cards after Bournemouth and Burnley, and then it could be Brighton, so the 3 Bs. But Brighton have gone a little bit off the boil, haven't they, recently? You know, I think you've got to go back to, I think it's the 24th of September, since they last won a Premier League game, 3-1 win over Bournemouth. They have won in the Europa League. They beat Ajax recently 2-0, but defeats at the likes of Manchester City. They obviously drew with Fulham at home recently, Liverpool at home recently. They got battered by Aston Villa away. And they seem to have, after having a great start to the season, by the way, when the Europa League hit, they seem to have had a real struggle balancing that. They obviously got beat by Chelsea as well in the Carabao Cup, but they've seemed to have a quite a difficult act balancing the Premier League with the European form.
Well, it's something they've never had to deal with before as a club, is it? In Europe for the first time in history. When you look at where a lot of their players come from as well, you know, they buy from smaller leagues, they're less popular markets. A lot of those players wouldn't have played continental football before as well. So it is just a learning curve for them. How well they do in Europe this season or not, I don't really know, but I think it will obviously affect them, and we have been seeing that. Also, you've got the other side of things, which I think could be getting made a bigger deal of if it weren't Brighton, is that they've lost some key players. Now, Brighton are good at replacing their players. They're happy to sell players. It's their model. But when you lose quality players like Caicedo and Alex McAllister, it does take a hit out of you.
Yeah.
I'm sure the players that they've brought in to replace them over time will do very well. And it's Brighton, isn't it? That's what they do. But in the short term, with the combined difficulty of having midweek football as well in Europe, maybe that's just been a hard learning curve for them. I think they might have a couple of injuries as well, and I think it's just taken that little bit of sting out of them. I don't think they're quite as fluid or a little bit less dangerous on the ball than they have been in the last couple of years. They'll get up to speed if that players all get fit again. The new players who they've brought in will come in and adapt. But
and it is the extra games. You know, I think they won 5 of the first 6 games, and then around the time Europe started, that's when the wheels started to fall off.
With some tough fixtures.
Yeah, of course, well. But they've got the likes of for the last week against Fulham, the likes of Lamptey was missing, Solly March, who apparently it's a bit of a bad one that as well, and Cisco injured. Danny Welbeck's got an injury, and Esputian.
Stupinan.
See, I always get them wrong. I always get pronunciations wrong. He's got an injury as well. So the squad is thinned out a little bit, and obviously that's going to cause them problems as they try and balance these two competitions. And obviously they're going to want to do well in the Premier League, but they're going to want to do well in their first season in the Europa League. I think they were second favourites in the Europa League, by the way, behind Liverpool. But so far, I think it's 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 defeat. They started with a defeat, and recently, obviously, beat Ajax, and they've got a draw away at Marseille. But they are still a very good side. The way they play football is, the way any team wants to see them playing. The Zabi, when he came in and took over from Potter, he really did seem to step them up from that next level. Everyone thought it was going to be doom and gloom. Everyone thought it was going to be the end of the world for them, but he really has taken them to that next level. And it's not, I mean, listen, they're not going to stay there all the time, because that is a really high bar they've set themselves, but he's done really well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he made them a little bit more clinical than they were under Potter. Obviously, they had the nice football as well, and that was starting to really bear fruit as well, just as Potter left.
Yeah.
Now, that's why people thought it was a risky move for him, because things were starting to go really well at Brighton. De Zerbi came in and just took it to a completely another level, and that's why they've got European football now. They're a great side, and they've got some really dangerous players who will always be a problem, even though they are missing some players. Brighton are a team who can probably get away with that better than some teams can, because they are run very top to bottom. You know, they have their way of playing. They have a club culture. The youth players are probably more adaptable. They know how the first team plays. So even though the quality of the youth player who maybe comes in to fill that gap isn't the same, they know how the team works. They can perform in that same environment.
Yeah, and as we said about the injuries, obviously once you start getting injuries, the quality starts being lessened a little bit. So yeah, it is difficult for this difficult little moment for them. And what we have seen as well from them is when they get beat, they really get beat. You know, the Villa, we obviously went there and beat them 5-1 last season, but you look at the Villa result, 6-1. They're such a weird side, because they do score goals, but they're so open as well. They really give you a chance if you get your tactics right. And obviously, if everything comes off for you, then it creates such an open game. And I think that's what's such an interesting part of this game, is because Everton in the last few weeks really have had the tactics nailed down. Everton are a massively open side, and wait for their moments. They're not playing free-flowing football. Everton are using the moments and the set pieces a little bit more, and the counter-attack, and that'll suit us come Saturday, won't it?
Yeah, well, we've not been great at home recently. It's getting better.
Yeah.
Like you say, this could be our third home win in the space of a week, but over the course of the season and the last few months as well, it's not been great. Part of the reason is we're not that comfortable on the ball, especially compared to a team like Brighton, who are great on it. The good thing for us is Brighton will come and sort of approach this like a home game.
Yeah.
They're going to come and they're going to want to get on the ball, just like Burnley did. Midweek, they had over 60% possession. Brighton will probably have similar numbers, and Everton will probably be in that sweet spot where they like to operate with 38% possession. That seems to be where Everton do most of their good work. And they do leave a lot of space, Brighton. They leave a lot of space through the middle, and Everton's strength in recent weeks has been that spine, Onana and Decore, two players who can really drive with the ball as well. It's something we've seen in the 5-1. As well, a lot of space in the middle for players like Decore and McNeil and Calvert-Lewin to just run for him. It's something we'll look to exploit again, I'm sure. But look, Brighton aren't soft. They'll look at how they lost that game last season. They won't compromise their entire playing style, but they'll go, how can we avoid this happening again? So that's where we need to be adaptable as well.
Yeah, I don't think we should fear not having the ball. I mean, Brighton recently in the last game against Fulham, they had 71% of the possession and ended up with a 1-1 draw. In fact, when they played Villa and lost 6-1, they had in that game 59% of possession. I don't think we should fear it. And we allowed Burnley, we'd like to Bournemouth to have more of the ball. It will suit us. It's where and when you take the ball off the opposition and not allowing them to get too high up the pitch, obviously. But yeah, it's obviously going to be a tough game. Let's have a little look at the Brighton side that drew 1-1 with Fulham recently. Jason Steele in goal, Adam Webster, Lewis Dunk, I go in a 3 at the back. Pascal Gross, Delhord, Adingra, midfield, Matoma, Adam Lallana, Belbet and Evan Ferguson up front. But let's just have a look at Matoma's numbers for the season so far. 10 games, 3 goals, XG of 2.49, assists 3, and XG 2.34. And obviously you can see by the heat map there, he's literally setting fire to that left-hand side, isn't he? Cutting in, you can see exactly where he goes and what he wants to do, and that will be you wonder whether that will the manager's decision will again on the right back be factored into those kind of things, because we did say before the Liverpool game the manager had a decision to make in terms of who he picked, and you know, I don't know whether he thinks he got it wrong that day, but pace and cutting in really did, you know, it really did cause issues for Ashley Young to the point where he obviously got sent off. So this is a big decision for the manager to make.
Yeah, against a player who, you know, running down that left-hand side and cutting in, it's his bread and butter, isn't it? I think if you just watched 10 minutes of Matoma footage and him scoring goals, you'd go, he does the same thing every time. Why to show him inside? But he's so skillful. He is a menace down that left-hand side. And, you know, I think Nathan Patterson's earned his chance. I really do. I think he was comfortable when he came in against West Ham. I think Ashley Young hasn't shown enough to, you know, be a guaranteed spot in that right back slot. I still think he's decent sign and, you know, versatility, and we can call on him if we need him, but I don't think he should be a guaranteed starter in this team based off what he's shown. And look, this is going to have to be a defensive performance from us at the weekend. I'm aware of that, but Patterson does give us that extra option going forward as well, with the option of an overlap around Jack Harrison on the right. I think it's time to pull the trigger on Patterson. He come out the team, and he needed to come out the team when he did, because he was struggling, but he's come back in. We've kept a clean sheet. Young's not covered himself in glory lately. Give Patterson a go. It's going to be a tough game for him, but you know, it'd be a baptism of fire, won't it, against Matoma? But if he comes through that, that'll be massive for him in his Everton career.
I think that would be the only change. I mean, let's have a look at the Everton team that faced or beat West Ham last week. There you go. I think for me, obviously Patterson started the game against West Ham, so it will be interesting to see what the manager does. Obviously, he brought Ashley Young back into the side for the game against Burnley. I don't think there'll be any other changes. I think that'll be the team that starts, bar the one position, the right back position. So whether the manager thinks he can cope with the pace, we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be interesting to find out what he does. The other player I just wanted to mention as well, who arguably could be more the player to watch than Matoma, would be Evan Ferguson, who's had really good start to the season. He scored 5 goals for Brighton so far. No headed goals, so which I thought it would have been, but 5 goals so far. We saw him emerge last season again in this fixture. Looks like he's got everything, this kid, to go forward as a big centre forward. Looks like he's got pace, presence, can finish from outside the box.
Intelligent footballer as well, very switched on, and therefore suits the makeup of that Brighton team. He's going to the top, isn't he? He's already very good, 5 goals already. He's a handful because he's such a physical presence, but then his first touch, how aware he is of the players around him, especially in a team like Brighton who have those runners in behind. He's a real handful, and he's a player you do need to be very switched on again. And even on your best day, you might struggle against, because he has that ability, and he's only going to get better. So him and Matoma, and especially Ferguson, are Brighton's danger men, aren't they? No,
absolutely, and it means obviously our defence is going to have to be right on its toes, and it'll be a different ask, physical presence for Tark. He'll love it. Brantwaite again, it's a different thing. Let's see how he does against them. He's come up against physical players this season. And it's how we deal with Matoma on our right as well. But obviously, they've got a lot of good, intelligent players. A couple of Liverpool connections with Lallana and Milner as well in there. So it's a difficult game. It's a game that if you'd asked me a few weeks ago, would not been looking forward to it. But I am now. I am looking forward to it because I just think the level of our performances has gone up in the last few weeks. The consistency of our performances has gone up. The consistency of the side that we're putting out week in and week out is there as well. We've got options on the bench as well, and if we can keep that level that we've been at least then you go, well, we've got an opportunity today to get a win. And if we do get a win, I think if we get a win, we go 4 points behind Brighton, and that'll show you that we're growing. And it's about, for me, getting into that pack above us and not being in the pack where it's like Everton are 5 points above the relegation zone. It's like it's been in the pack now for the mid part or the second pack, then you get another pack, and then you get. I think the Premier League is like 4 packs now rather than where you used to look at it 3. But I think if we can get mid-table or start getting the points where you're not looking at every performance going, oh, if we lose today, we're back down there. We need. That's where back-to-back wins are so important in the Premier League. They suddenly, certainly at this time of the season, they suddenly elevate you into a different place, a different feel. There's a calmness to the club, there's a calmness to the fans when they go to the match. That it's not, oh, we lose this today. It's a big important game for both teams. They'll be back in European football next week as well. So again, how does he juggle the two, or does he even thinking that far ahead? I don't know, but they've had a clear week obviously because they weren't in the Carabao Cup. But I'd rather have had the Carabao Cup in the week. I'd rather have played one and have that confidence and have the feel around Goodison that things are on the up.
Yeah, and you want to be involved in the cup competitions, don't you? It's the same for Brighton with Europe, although that has probably hindered them at points this season. You take it, you've got to take it because you want to be involved. And this season, although it is a learning curve for Brighton and, they're adapting, they still want to have success this year. They want to keep building on what they've established. And it's been a tough couple of weeks for them in the league, and they'll be looking to turn that round. And that's what makes it a tough game for us. But look, we're coming in form. It's a good test for us to see, are we a level above where we were? Can we maintain that? And I think it has the makings of quite an entertaining game. Yeah,
it does. And hopefully, I mean, it'd be great to get a win and go into Palace ahead of the international break. If we could go into that international break undefeated, in these 4 games, I think, mentally for everybody, I know there's been a lot of noise about Everton recently, and you can't see the wood for the trees. But hopefully, if things are starting to go one by one, if it's not looking at the league table all the time, Sean Dyche doesn't ever look at the league table, but if you're not looking at the league table all the time, and you're not worried about what's going on below you, and you're going, oh, hope we, if that team wins, then maybe we can, we can go up a place or whatever. Then we chalk that one thing off, and then the next thing is, the next few weeks, probably 4 weeks or whatever, you got the commission stuff, and if obviously we're desperate for something positive to come out of that, whatever it is, as long as it's no points deduction or whatever. But we come out of that, and then the next thing is obviously the buying of the football club, and it's just like, get through this little.
You're just slowly chipping away.
Yeah, you're getting chipping away at all Mathew's articles essentially, and because suddenly it does feel like there's just a little bit of light in the clouds shining through. Stadiums like so looking amazing, and you're like, oh, and suddenly you are starting to think, what, it's not as bad. It's not as bad as what it's been painted as, or not as bad as you thought it was going to be. So, yeah, let's get a little bit of optimism. Hopefully, we get a win on Saturday, and we start climbing that table. And then we can all start feeling better about ourselves, can't we? Well, not about ourselves. I mean, if I feel great about myself, to be honest,
feeling better about Everton.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to going to a game at Goodison.
Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily mean you expect to win, but it means we're coming in from a good place, doesn't it?
Expect a good match.
Yeah.
I expect a good match.
And a good effort from us, regardless.
Yeah, and a consistent performance that gives us the tools to win the game. So let us know your thoughts on this one. Do you fancy us against Brighton on Saturday? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. make sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and join us over on Toffee TV Premier if you want daily live exclusive videos. They're all over there. We are literally just about to go and record one right now that is live and exclusive, called Round the Tower, and it's amazing. And we're going to do that now. So if you're on Toffee TV Premier, you can check that out. And if you're not, come and join us and check that out. Thanks for watching. The link is in the description. QR codes come on the screen. See you later.